Hello guys, good morning everybody. Welcome to our YouTube channel. I hope you are fit and fine. If I am audible and visible to you, do let me know. Right? Just give me a confirmation whether I am audible or visible or not. Hanji. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay. Just give me a confirmation. Audible and visible. Thank you, Kanishk. Okay. So here, I think everyone could see over here, the major news that is there in the today's newspaper is Union Minister's house torched by the mob in Imphal. Now the situation is getting worse day by day if I talk about the situation in Manipur. I think everyone has the idea related to the violence that has hit the state of Manipur, and it has resulted in a lot of ethnic violence. Now the problem is that there has been a lot of violence that has been coming from the tribal communities towards the Meitei communities, right? And in this particular regard, the particular organizations have, particular Manipur based organizations have written to United Nations as well to look into the matter, because now the matter has gone out of the control of the army, out of the control of the state administration, and it is not being resolved as well. As you can see over here, because mob has taken the matter into their own hands, as you can see, Union Minister's house torched by the mob in Imphal, right? Law and order has completely failed in Manipur, says Minister of State Rajkumar Ranjan Singh. He claims it was not a communal incident. So we are basically very clear, the situation is not getting, we could say, improving day by day, and it is getting worse day by day. The time has come for the government to make concrete steps, to make drastic steps, so that the matter बेसिकली है तो इंडिया का मैटर है, इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी का मैटर है, अब इसको इंटरनेशनलाइज करके बाकी कंट्रीज इसके ऊपर पॉलिटिक्स ना खेलें, राइट? सो दिस इज द थिंग दैट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, बिकॉज when certain matters go to international organizations, then it becomes a serious concern of the law and order situation, whether India is able to, let's say as a country, is able to protect its state from this particular law and order situation. So this is a particular news that we have to understand, we have to remember. We need to know the topography of Manipur, we need to know about the Meitei community, we need to know about the Kuki-Chin community, right? Basically अगर हम बात करते हैं, let me give you a pretty much clear idea what's the situation over here. Let's say दिस इज द स्टेट ऑफ मणिपुर, राइट? मान लो ये हमारे पास मणिपुर की स्टेट है, राइट? दिस इज द एरिया ऑफ द वैली एरिया एंड दिस इज द माउंटेनस एरिया. नाउ दिस एरिया इज बेसिकली हैबिटेड बाय मेती कम्युनिटी, and this one mountain areas are basically inhabited by the tribal groups, which are basically Kuki communities or the Chin communities. Now one thing you have to understand, you can also add over Zomi communities over here, that these particular communities were brought in as a buffer against the invading Naga community. Now this is a very very serious thing that you have to understand, you need to know about as well, कि ये सारी जो community थी, basically अगर हम Kuki-Chin community की बात करते हैं, they are not the original inhabitants of the state of Manipur, they were basically brought from the state of Myanmar. They were basically brought from the state of Myanmar by the British during their time, because this particular area was a protectorate of the British Empire and they wanted to protect this area against the invading Naga tribe. So as a result, they brought in another fierce tribe to fight against this particular Naga groups. That was this Kuki-Chin Zomi tribes. Now the problem over here that has now burst into this law and order situation is related to the economic rights of the people of Manipur plus the political rights. These are the two problems that are now being highlighted over in this whole situation. I think you must be knowing this particular part, that this area of the valley area is 10% of the geographical area of the Manipur. Rest 90% is the mountainous areas. And if I take in the overall seats that are there of the MLAs in the state of Manipur, these are 60. But 10% area is having 40 seats and the rest are having 20 seats. So this was the issue that was already there, and by granting this Meitei community a ST status, which was not accordingly, अगर हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अकॉर्डिंगली जाएं तो वहां पे प्रेसिडेंट की नोटिफिकेशन के थ्रू होता है. अगर हम बात करते हैं कोई भी कम्युनिटी को आप ऐड करते हो एसटी या ओबीसी की लिस्ट में, सेंट्रल ओबीसी लिस्ट और द शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब लिस्ट, बट हियर इट वाज बीइंग ग्रांटेड बाय द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. एज अ रिजल्ट, people were fearful that the tribal groups, that their rights would be further eroded away, The Meitei group would be getting the right to stay in the tribal areas. They would be having a more political representation. They would get the more economic rights as well. So as a result, this whole situation escalated, and what we are seeing is just the problem that has been arisen from the demographics that we can understand from this particular diagram. So this is the whole scenario, and this is the whole situation that we guys need to know about the state of Manipur. And you need to know about the map of the Manipur as well. This becomes very very important when you appear for your UPSC 2024 prelims, right? So ये एक पूरा मैटर है जो आपके माइंड में एक माइंड मैप बना होना चाहिए. Very important. Whenever you are covering any current affairs, you need to have a certain mind map in your, let's say, in your mind when you are preparing any topic for your current affair. Let's take an example. When you are preparing the state of Manipur, because it has been in news, you need to know कि when it was integrated into India. I think सबको पता है कि integration का काम independence के बाद हुआ है. What are the areas that touch the state of Manipur? What are the major mountainous areas that we have or mountains we have? What are the famous national parks do we have in this particular area, right? So these areas become very very important, and these type of questions are expected in the exam. And then the current issue for which it was in the news. So you need to have a whole holistic knowledge of the state of Manipur. Then only if paper में question आता है from various angles and aspects, you would be able to attempt that particular question. I hope you are able to understand that point, and you are able to understand the whole situation that has escalated in the state of Manipur, right? Okay. Now, coming to the second part, I think everyone is aware of this particular thing. Gujarat grapples with destruction after Biparjoy unleashes its fury. Now, here, yesterday and day before yesterday, I was talking about this particular cyclone. I think those who have studied geography, they must be knowing that the more cyclones that are more frequent are not in this Arabian Sea part. They are more in the Bay of Bengal part. But अभी हमने अगर हम बात करें climate change का भी phenomenon देखें, there have been certain instances where we are witnessing that there are now more cyclones that are being witnessed in the area of Arabian Sea as well, right? I think you need to understand this particular part. Okay, earlier we had seen or we had been witnessing, now we are also witnessing that there are cyclones in the Bay of Bengal region. But now we have seen there are no more frequency of cyclones that are coming in the Arabian Sea part. So there is a particular news section that is there related to this, that why our prediction models are not able to, let's say, predict whether this particular cyclone that has come, Biparjoy, would be making the landfall in the state of Gujarat. अभी recently अगर हम बात करें, there was a certain cyclone in the Bay of Bengal area that was cyclone Mocha. I think जो अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं, let's say those who have been following the news, they must be knowing about this particular cyclone Mocha that originated in the South Andaman Sea. But it was absolutely clear to us that where this particular, let's say, cyclone would be making the landfall, कौन से land पे जाके वो strike करेगा, and we made it absolutely clear that our IMD that it will not be hitting the part of our, let's say, area of any part of India. It would be going towards the Bangladesh and Myanmar region. So we were able to predict that much in advance. But here, when we talk about cyclone Biparjoy, it was only 2 days before that we were able to say that this cyclone would be making the landfall on the coast of Gujarat. So why there was a lack of, let's say, we were not able to predict this particular cyclone whether it would be making the landfall in the state of Gujarat on time or not. हमने ये पहले प्रिडिक्ट क्यों नहीं कर पाए? सो यहाँ पे कुछ कारण है जो हमें समझने चाहिए. सबसे पहली चीज, द वन एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू, दैट साइक्लोन्स in Bay of Bengal are more frequent as compared to cyclones in Arabian Sea. So first of all is Bay of Bengal cyclones are more frequent as compared to cyclones in the Arabian Sea. So this is the first part that we have to understand. And second thing we need to understand that why there have been in the past history lesser, we could say, cyclones originating from the Arabian Sea. That is, if we compare the temperature of Arabian Sea with the Bay of Bengal, it has a relatively colder temperature. It has a relatively what? It has a relatively colder temperature as compared to Bay of Bengal. So this is the second reason that you can attribute कि पहले अगर हम बात करें colder temperatures रहते थे, पर आजकल situation change कर रही है क्योंकि temperature ज़्यादा हो रहा है, low pressure create हो रहा है, जिसकी वजह से cyclones originate हो रहे हैं. Third thing that you need to understand that when we talk about कि how much the cyclone, let's say, कि वो किस जगह पे जाएगा, कैसे जाएगा, कर्व करेगा, रिकर्व करेगा, that all depends on winds in the upper parts of the atmosphere. Very important. Those are called the steering winds that tells us where the cyclone would go, right? That are the steering winds. The second part that you need to understand about the intensity, strength of the cyclone, that is being determined by the amount of heat in the ocean. Very important. वो चीज कैसे डिपेंड करती है? हीट कंटेंट के ऊपर डिपेंड करती है कि कितनी इंटेंसिटी होगी साइक्लोन की. सो दो चीजें यहां पे सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट हो गई. एक तो हो गया स्टीयरिंग विंड्स, दैट वुड डिटरमाइन जैसे कि लैंडफॉल होगा, किस एरिया में होगा या नहीं होगा. दूसरी चीज उसकी इंटेंसिटी क्या होगी, वो डिपेंड कैसे करता है? हीट कंटेंट के ऊपर. सो दीज आर द टू थिंग्स दैट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर as compared to cyclone की intensity and the way it would be making the landfall. And second thing, why we are witnessing more cyclones in comparison now we are having witnessing in the area of Arabian Sea as well. That is absolutely predicted, or we could say we have seen in this case of cyclone Biparjoy. I hope you are able to understand these two particular news. These are very, very important, right? Okay. अच्छा, वो मत न्यूज देखने बैठ जाना जो आजकल रिपब्लिक टीवी और टाइम्स नाउ में चल रहा है, राइट? आई थिंक सबने वो मीम्स देखे होंगे जहां पे वो न्यूज एंकर कुछ भी कर रहे हैं आजकल के टाइम पे, राइट? वो साइक्लोन दिखा रहे हैं अपने न्यूज चैनल पे. दैट इज नॉट वर्दी ऑफ सीइंग द न्यूज. द न्यूज एक्चुअली दैट यू राइट नाउ नीड टू फोकस इज ओनली ऑन द, लेट्स से, द प्रिंट मीडिया, नॉट द, लेट्स से, द टीवी मीडिया, राइट? दैट इज नॉट गुड एज कंपेयर टू अर्लियर, राइट? ओके. आज यहां पे कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, एडिटोरियल में कुछ भी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है जो हमें पढ़ना चाहिए, राइट? ये पहले ट्रेड डेफिसिट की बात हो रही है जो हमने कल डिस्कस करा. ट्रेड डेफिसिट हैज रीजन टू $20 billion. दिस इज रिलेटेड टू रेलवे सेफ्टी, अबाउट द रीसेंट इंसिडेंट्स दैट हैज हैपेंड. दे आर सेइंग बेसिकली रेलवेज, इफ वी टॉक अबाउट, इट इज अ large campus, right? Because there are so many things that you need to address when you talk about a railway safety. Because when we talk about, let's say, iron steel plant, it has a limited space, but when we talk about railways, it has a huge component. You have the railway tracks, then you have the, let's say, arrival station, destination station. There are a lot of things. So here they are basically talking about the major thing that the railway has to do in order to make sure that the railway incidents needs to reduce. They have already reduced, but this type of incidents that happened in the case of Odisha now brings the whole situation again into the limelight, that there needs to be a bottom up approach as compared to top down approach. It has to be from the bottom. If there are any faults that are being let's say, if there are any faults that are being, let's say, coming to the picture, they needs to be reported and they need to be repaired in time. So this is the editorial that they wanted to talk about. Not much, let's say, we can discuss related to this, but you need to have a certain knowledge related to the railway safety, right? So this is already we have discussed yesterday, that is related to the trade deficit that has gone to $20.2 billion, right? इसका कितना हो चुका है? It has gone to $20.2 billion. I hope this point is clear to everybody, right? Okay. अच्छा, यहां पे ये सिर्फ यूएस ईरान की न्यूक्लियर डील को लेके है कि वो हो पाएगी या नहीं हो पाएगी. आई थिंक सबको पता है कि यूएसए ने पहले इट हैड पुट अ लॉट ऑफ सैंक्शंस ऑन ईरान. फिर वो एक न्यूक्लियर डील साइन हुई थी बैरक ओबामा के टाइम पे, ट्रम्प के टाइम पे, फिर वो वापस हो गई. अब फिर से हो रहा है कि इसके रिलेटेड कुछ न्यूक्लियर डील होनी चाहिए या नहीं होनी चाहिए, राइट? सो दिस व्हेन विल हैपन, वी विल गेट टू नो. नो नीड टू स्टडी इन एडवांस वेदर देयर वुड बी एनीथिंग रिलेटेड टू यूएस ईरान न्यूक्लियर डील और नॉट. ओके. So this is all the, okay, sorry. This is right groups call for Modi to break silence on Manipur. The situation in Manipur is not good. High Court adjourns hearing on ST status for Metis, plea listed for June 19. Call all party meeting on Manipur. Country needs answer. It is being said by the Congress, right? So this is a thing that is being going on if we talk about the situation in Manipur. This I have already discussed. Warning oceans make it harder to forecast cyclones in the Arabian Sea. Now I've already told you कि relatively पहले colder temperature होता था. Now there have been an increase in the temperature. That is why it becomes very difficult for us to predict this particular cyclones in the Arabian Sea, whether where they're going to make the landfalls. Right? Experts say cyclones in the Bay of Bengal being far more frequent were better understood. Arabian Sea has seen fewer cyclones historically because of relatively colder sea surface temperature, but now it is heating up more than the average. This is the thing that I already told you guys, right? So यहाँ पे ऐसा कुछ important नहीं है, right? अब ये एक important news बन जाती है. Maybe UPSC could ask, so you need to know, because 2023 has been declared as the International Year of Millets. Very important. It has been declared as the International Year of Millets by FAO, that is Food and Agriculture Organization. Now our Prime Minister would be collaborating with the Grammy Award winning Indian American singer Falguni Shah for the song to promote the benefits of millets and their potential to alleviate world hunger. And the name of the song is Abundance in Millet Song. Very important. तो यहाँ पे नाम important हो जाता है, उसका नाम क्या है? Abundance in Millets Song. So this becomes very, very important. You can write this in your answers as well. What we have taken the steps in order to promote the millets. You need to talk about these particular things because here we are talking about bringing in a behavioral change in the minds of the people, so they are aware of the benefits of the people of the millets, and they are aware that in this particular scenario of climate change, how important are millets, not only from the climate point of view but also from our nutritional point of view. They are very, very important. If we talk about, right, there are a lot of nutrient deficiency that is there due to the system that has been going on, right? If we talk about the PDS system, that is a rice and wheat, recently government ने announce कर दिया कि वो fortified rice देंगे, but उसके अलावा भी अगर हम बात करें, there are a lot of nutrients where we lack that could be let's say offset by the use of the millets. So this is the thing that we have to understand. अभी आपको पता है कि मोदी जी यूएस जाने वाले हैं and they're going to discuss on the Ukraine war and the Indo-Pacific situation. Now one thing you have to understand, earlier USA had its all, let's say, energy focused on the area of West Asia. Now recently the peace that has been brokered between Saudi Arabia and Iran by China clearly points us to one thing, that USA is now moving away from the area of West Asia. There are certain reasons. One, that it has already now its own oil reserves, right? So it doesn't need the requirement of, let's say, crude oil from Saudi Arabia or such particular Western Gulf countries. So as a result, now its area of focus is on the new generation of technology that is basically coming. अगर हम बात करते हैं rare earth elements की, polymetallic nodules की, they are being found in the area of the Indian Ocean region. So as a result, they have to make sure that the rules based order is followed in the area of this Indian Ocean or the Pacific Ocean. So they are very much clear that they would not allow China to dictate its terms and make sure that China ने जो साउथ चाइना सी में किया है फिलीपींस और कंट्रीज के साथ, वो बाकी जगह में रेप्लिकेट ना हो. इस वजह से यूएस अपनी इंडो पैसिफिक पॉलिसी लेके आया, जापान लेके आ रहा है, कनाडा लेके आ रहा है. दे आर ऑल बेसिकली मेकिंग श्योर, गैंगिंग अप अगेंस्ट चाइना in order to make sure that there is a rules based order in the area of Indo-Pacific. So this is the one area of, let's say right now, if I talk about the area which is being focused by the USA. The second area that is being of the most importance is the area of Ukraine, because here the war is being going between Russia and Ukraine, and we know what is the situation between USA and Russia, right? अब NATO अपनी alliance बढ़ा रहा है. Finland has been accorded the status of NATO, right? It has been included in NATO. So there are a lot of, let's say, friction points that are there between USA and Western countries versus the Russia in this context of Ukraine war, right? So this is the thing that you need to understand. It is solely and very, very important news that is very important from IR point of view. अब हमारी चीजें बड़ी डिफरेंट हैं. यहाँ पे तो हमारा सेम स्टैंड है, जो हमारा हमने भी जापान के साथ अपनी फ्री एंड ओपन इंडो पैसिफिक पॉलिसी में वी हैव आल्सो गिवन आवर व्यूज दैट वी आर एब्सोल्युटली विद यू गाइस, एज विद कनाडा, एज विद यूएसए, दोज हु हैव सिंक्रोनाइज्ड व्यूज रिलेटेड टू इंडो पैसिफिक स्ट्रेटजी. बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू रशिया यूक्रेन, इंडिया yes has clearly said that they are not in the favor of the war, but they have been using crude oil, taking the advantage of the situation that is there of the war at lower prices and then selling it to European market. That was also a very much allegation that was put in by the European countries. So this is a very, very sensitive area where they would be discussing in the upcoming visit of Prime Minister Modi to USA, that is to the Biden, right? तो ये चीज बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाती है IR के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से. ओके, अब यहां पे कुछ नहीं है. मोदी टू लीड योगा डे सेलिब्रेशन, सबको पता है योगा डे आ रहा है, राइट? अच्छा, अब ये न्यूज बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है. अमेरिकन चिप मेकर माइक्रॉन mulling large investment in India. See, one of the things you have to understand that during the COVID, because there was a lockdown across the world, Indians were dependent on certain semiconductor chips on China. USA was dependent on China, as was other countries dependent on China. Because there was a disruption in the supply chain because of the COVID and the lockdown, the countries thought that there was a particular need that we need to start making our own semiconductor chips. जैसे कि हालात हम देख सकते हैं कि कभी भी लॉकडाउन लग सकता है, कभी भी सप्लाई चेन डिसरप्शन हो सकती है. इट्स बेटर दैट वी नीड टू बी इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ द अदर कंट्रीज. दैट इज व्हाई यूएसए इज डूइंग, दैट इज व्हाई इंडिया इज डूइंग. That's what India is doing. So both of the countries have the particularly notion that they want to produce their own semiconductor chips, considering their importance in the upcoming new technologies. So as a result, in this particular regard, American chip maker is mulling large investment in India because USA is working to put the brakes on China's access to cutting edge semiconductor technology. आज के टाइम पे जिसके पास टेक्नोलॉजी है, जिसके पास एक्सेस है, वही राजा है. तो वो नहीं चाहते कि सारी पावर चाइना के पास आ जाए. चाइना ऑलरेडी हैज अ लॉट ऑफ स्ट्रेटेजिक एडवांटेज इफ वी टॉक अबाउट राइट नाउ इन दिस पर्टिकुलर डिकेड ओवर यूएसए. बट यूएसए डजंट वांट, दे हैव टू मेंटेन देयर हेजेमनी. सो एज अ रिजल्ट दे आर नाउ ट्राइंग टू मेक श्योर दैट दे राउट दिस थ्रू द मैप of India and make sure that they put their investment in India in order to make sure कि हमारे बीच में supply chain एक बनी रहे. I hope you are able to understand this, right? Okay, ये वर्ल्ड न्यूज है, कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, वही चीजें चल रही हैं, ऐसा कुछ अलग से नहीं चल रहा है, ठीक है. एंड इकोनॉमिक्स की न्यूज में आज के लिए कुछ ऐसा इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है जो हमें डिस्कस करना चाहिए. ओके, एंड वी आर डन विद द टुडेज एनालिसिस, राइट गाइज. सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग विद मी एंड we will see each other now on Monday, right? Sunday is off for us. Every time Sunday is off for us, right? So we will be seeing each other on Monday. But I have a request that you please read the newspaper on Sunday. It is very important, right? So we will see each other on Monday. Thank you so much. And we will be joining again on Monday. Same time. Remember the time 9 a.m. And till then, share, like and subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you.